I just want to express how much this series means to me and how much I love it. So I'm gonna go over my favorite highlights and parts of the show, things I really loved, maybe things I could have touched up on a little bit. Either way, nothing's perfect, but I am gonna let you know ahead of time, that there are spoilers included. If you're still worried about something like that came out, over a decade ago, so there's your quick warning. One quick thing before I really get into this video, I wanted to talk so much about the openings and the OST and stuff like that and the endings. So I'm just cherry picked a few of them that other people have uploaded on YouTube already, kind of like a homage, while kind of giving them a shout out too. All right, so I hope you like that stuff in the background. There is something that I quickly want to address in this thing. I noticed going through the prologue of the series, it comes out like it's a slow start. If you ask me, the characters come off kind of, well, I wouldn't say the characters, but there's moments it shows where it just seems kind of trashy to me. Like it has a bunch of unnecessary fan service just for the sake of it or something. Um, to me, it's a kind of a gripe that I have. So a lot of you guys, or whatever's into that stuff, that's fine, I guess. But it kind of will pull away from like the dynamic or like really good plot points into the show, where then all of a sudden you just toss this. For example, in anime, it's like characters rushing through this room or whatever. You open the door and there all is the fan service and stuff like that. Again, if that's you. You do you. Yeah, I'll just continue the video. So, story begins, Solo Maka's prologue. I think Maka's a really great character, especially going through it again recently. My opinions have changed quite a bit, mainly because you're older and you're looking at it through a different kind of lens or whatever, much different than I watched it back when I was like in high school. Now, Maka's a very generous. She's kind-hearted as well. A couple flaws she has is that she is willing to express herself, bring her, she's hesitant. That's the word I'm looking for. Now, there's a good example when Soul and Blair are there right at the beginning of the episode. She kind of convinces Soul to join her instead, but then you see it like Amaka, that she has a defeated look on her face. At the end, Soul tricks Blair, but that's kind of a, what do you call it? Kind of like saying a premise or a scene or whatever for that character interaction, which kind of ends wholehearted, which is nice. It's a little humorous that they were about to get to the status quo, get to the 99 souls, but they messed up. It's good for us to come in and see it, so they progress through it down the line. Now, what's really interesting is like the art style of this changed so much throughout the manga run. It's just kind of interesting. I didn't go over some of the other characters at the beginning, but that's not important. We're at the prologue of them. Real quickly, I thought Blair was a really interesting character, kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say it for, the sexual reasons that, she's displayed and stuff later on in the show. But just kind of like a cool person, they seem very down to earth. Sure, they're a little forceful with their body in a certain way. That's something else. I'm getting distracted. So the second duo is Blackstar and Tsubaki. Now, Blackstar, I'll tell you right away, is my favorite character in the whole series. Blackstar is very strong and, just in combat in general, and has a lot of spiritual pressure. Is that the term? Has a lot of a very large soul wavelength. This thing, Bleach. Tsubaki, I kind of like their dynamic because she supports him kind of like a little further back from the distance because, spotlight's on Blackstar. He's the big attraction. He's the big deal. Flaw of him is very, it's apparent. He's very cocky and arrogant. It goes without saying because if you have a lot of power and strength and all that stuff, it's gonna come with an attitude. Like, who's gonna stop you if you're the best? the final character is that the kid and his two guns, Liz and Patty. Now, I think they're a little interesting dynamic. I kind of like the way the dude he holds the guns in his pinkies. He his he's obviously the son of Grim Reaper, and he has big shoes to fill for that kind of stuff. His biggest flaw, well, is obvious if you've seen the series, is he has OCD. Now, I don't know if the writer put that in there for like the audience to laugh at or make fun of, but I know OCD is a very like a serious issue. My boss actually has OCD, and let me tell you, there are some freakouts. It was over something so trivial too, like in the office. I rearranged some stuff to get behind a desk. It would have been the printer cartridges. He had them stacked like uh, black and white, black whatever, and color. And one of there was like I put them in a way to get out. I moved them aside to get behind the desk, and when I put them back, I put them like 4 by 3, so it was like 12 or whatever like that, so it's even. But he no, I put them like vertical, all the black and white, and then all the color. He had them oriented like this. It was a pretty big deal when they came back around and found it. Again, I just didn't know it was just a freak out they had. So let me tell you, OCD is a big serious thing to some people. It's I think like a certain level or extent. Like some people are like, yeah, it's kind of a tidbit thing, but some people freak out. One thing I want to get on discuss first before I talk more about the story is Krona. Now, Krona is a very interesting character because in I thought growing up, we're watching it, Krona was a dude. It turns out it was changed over here in America because um, I don't know why they wanted to change it. It it's kind of like that situation with Ivy from Street Fighter. Like over here they're a chick or they have no gender, and over here they're a dude. Not for different reasons, same reasons, mind you, but it just kind of it definitely isn't a gender ideology, doesn't it? But no, point is, that's why I was so confused because, the part when Medusa, like, kind of tries to change her to, like, kill the little pet or whatever to lose their sanity. But that is a big change in the manga. So, like, in the original anime, Krona ends up killing, like, a dragon or something, like a little spirit lizard kind of thing. And in the manga, they end up killing a bunny rabbit, which actually is probably a lot harder for a kid to do. Now, back to that thing going. That's why I thought it was so weird when Corona was in a dress, because I thought Medusa was doing it to humiliate him or whatever. But, I guess that's just a girl instead. Kind of like do some psychological damage to her or whatever. There's other few scenes that's a little different in the manga and anime right before they part different ways. Um, the fight when Stein fights Medusa, I think, was way more kind of, I want to say, unsettling in the manga, because you can always do that. Ooh, look, it's a shock factor. It's more dark, gruesome stuff. Like everyone does that. Pokemon does that. So what was kind of weird is that when Stein chopped her in a million pieces or whatever, the fact that her disbodied, like, armored torso came up and bit him, and he just rehabilitates by sending a spike straight through her head. Well, the tip of the scythe, but like it was way different. Same thing, more like that when Medusa comes back and how she possesses the little kid. That's it's kind of more saddening to me, because it doesn't just happen in a day and then the kid walks off. There's a scene where the mom and the dad are like in the bedroom and they're talking. One of them asleep or whatever. But just this one spot where the little girl is just hovering over her mom as she sleeps. I'll put a little picture of it up there, and it's just, it kind of sets a different tone, like, because the mom knows that's not her child, like, right away. But but rather than outright saying it in the kitchen over breakfast or something, it just sets a little different in the middle of the night, you know. And what was kind of a little sad for me when I saw it too was they posted a missing poster of the little girl after she well, disappeared. Are we gonna talk about how Fisher King looks in the manga? He looks like he's quite a well. He's doing something. Let's just say he's doing something to himself. And with that, the kid just blasts him. It really focuses on this. I just found it ridiculously funny when I saw it. Is all. And one other scene that is very different in the manga than anime because, well, it just happens a lot. But that scene where Krona is talking to Medusa and convinces her to uh, infect Stein with madness. Maka is actually there. Like, Maka heard the whole thing. And that just sets a different tone because, she could have told somebody or whatever about that certain situation rather than just it being what it is, just two people talking and the split apart. But with another person in there, it has potential to do something else with it. Just never went anywhere with that spot. One thing I really love in this series is where the three of them are trying to soul wavelength with each other. So Kid and Maka, they connect and it's fine, like they're channeling each other's energy. Black Star steps in and his wavelength is so much stronger than the other two, it just severs. They can't keep up with him because how much energy he's putting off. That leads to them trying a few times and Maka ends up like asking Stein to pull Black Star from the team, where he replies, "So you want me to like limit how much power Black Star uses for them to keep up or whatever?" Maka just states that he's the one causing problems for them, that they can't keep up. He should help work as a team kind of thing. Black Star just comes back with, "You're not the only one who just wants to do what they want to do," kind of thing. So they get into it, and this is where I really like this. Not because it's a really good bonding moment, if you understand, because Maka at this point is furious, where Black Star just shoves her off like nothing, pushes her hand away and flips her, and then there's like so is that all you got kind of thing or whatever. But it's where that the kid tries to interfere, and it's just Soul holds back, and it's something they gotta hash out on their own. It's a really good strong point because from what I know, if you get into arguments with other people all the time, you actually can come off the other side closer than when you were before. You just kind of iron out all your differences. Trust me. So something that you can apply in life too. So after Maka keeps trying to attack Black Star, there's a point where he just says, "Are you done? Because if you come at me again, I'm going to consider this a real fight." And then he'll just state that he'll crush her like a bug, like he isn't playing anymore. Now Maka gets deterred or gets mad, and she takes off. I like in the end of this part, the one who will bring her back to the group and settle down and everything out with Tsubaki, Black Star's partner, Sun Away. They play off, everyone plays off each other, Now they're like, yeah, you just kind of understand Black Star kind of thing, where it takes this person's partner to go talk to Maka, re-reconcile, and everyone just, they come together at the end, which is a really nice part for character development. One thing I think is pretty interesting is that characters like Kim, Ox, and Killick really get spotlighted in the series. So, I'm not remembering, it's been so long since I've seen the anime actually, that Ox actually has a thing for Kim. And eventually you do learn that, again I said there'd be spoilers, but that Kim does become a witch. Now, there's a scene where that she just takes off, that she doesn't trust him, whatever, when she ends up going to Mosquito. Thing is, Ox, he loves Kim, where he was gonna go after her and everything back like that. It's cool, and it's really cool to see more screen time with these characters because they just sit on the sidelines in the main anime. And Killick, oh dude, if you love Killick, they did him so dirty in the anime. Compared to the manga, this dude he uses Liz and Patty for a time. There's more reason on that later. I'll touch on a little bit, but again, so he's just using his 2 gauntlets and he's using 2 guns, which is really cool. So yeah, during this time, that's just when the anime and the manga split off pretty much completely. The Baba Yaga arc in the manga is just something that you'd have to go check out yourself. Someone else did a much better job explaining it than I could do, so I will put a link to their video in the description. Now, what's my favorite part in the Baba Yaga Castle is obviously the Black Star versus Mifune fight 3. Because if you literally ask anyone who's read the manga, it's the far superior version. Someone made an animation on Twitter, and I'm blanking on their name right now, but I will link them as well. I literally, when I saw that, that's what inspired me to make this video and reread the manga, because it's been, again, a long time. And I actually went before, like, the last video I uploaded was this animation. I just added sound effects into it, but the animator, they just go watch it. It's really good. And what's different in this fight is Black Star actually kills Mifune. You know, like, the stakes were so much higher. He conquered his dragon pretty much. You know, he beat the dude who was training so hard to defeat. There was this scene that I found pretty humorous when Black Star was on his training arc in the meantime with Tsubaki's parents. So there's a scene where he's just spinning around and he asks why is he doing it. Well, he says so that he can be on top of the world, so he's turning the world's access to pretty much be on. It's kind of funny. This is literally my favorite, like, one of my favorite artworks for the whole manga is right there. After some time passes, I think it's really interesting how the characters change. Maka and Soul end up getting their 100th witch soul. I mean, their 100th soul, which is a witch tongue twister. No, it resembles Freddy Krueger. And after that, they kind of have an outfit change, which is, look, there's me going witch again. It's pretty interesting to me. They have the ability to fly, like, literally on a broom kind of style instead of the soul. She makes like these wings, where the other characters like Black Star, he's also has an attire change. Gets battle scars from Mifune, by the way. So he gets one across his eye, his brow, his shoulder, and I think this is the part where my favorite, one of the favorite changes, how Killa gets that screen time I was talking about earlier. So this is when he's accompanied by Liz and Patty and his 2 gauntlets. So he has 4 weapons, right? He goes on this little submission where he fights the enemies of Resident Evil 5. That's a joke, okay? Relax. It's cool to see the 2 kettles have this special form where they, like, obviously they manifest like older or whatever, it's more power. It's an interesting artwork for that. I failed to mention a little earlier in the anime where Krona and Maka have their heart-to-heart when they have a flashback as kids or whatever, and Maka comes to comfort Krona. She accompanies her back to the DWMA, where in this instance, Krona doesn't come back. You know, she stays with Medusa, and there is a scene where Black Star fights Medusa, and I mean, fights Krona, and she has 3 different weapons. Still has the black blood, but has much more power. So does Blackstar in this case. He actually has the uses the Shadow Star in a way that like propulses his wavelength whatever forward and hit her. And Erica Frog shows up too. The fight doesn't last that long, but again, it's so interesting. This is where in the show it feels like another timeline rather than a different adaptation of the manga or whatever. But like, it's a whole different story. It's really worth investing in watching, reading. There is a scene where the DWA goes and talks to the cabaret club, the Chupa girls, which, you know, obviously kind of know Spanish. So when I saw it, I was like, but no, that's not what I'm getting at. It's something completely different. It's like Chupacabra, like the mythos or whatever. There's a scene where I wanted to throw this in with Death the Kid and Mole, whatever. He makes this like really pointy face. I can't do it right now. It's just like he embodies sad or disappointed, and he's torturing Death the Kid, by the way. But he doesn't falter or anything except one thing, and it was this double panel thing in the book, which it actually shows the symmetry line, and one side is just slightly lower than the other, and that's what drives them crazy. It's so funny. When they eventually go and rescue Death the Kid, they enter like this version of the Seven Sins, which is kind of interesting. There is a scene, Lust, I believe it is, where everyone gender switches. It's it's interesting, definitely, to say the least. But then eventually time passes and you start to see them revert to the normal selves. There's actually a poll in the manga, and it was like, essentially, who has like the dirtiest mind or whatever would transform last. They even left the results in the manga. But I think my favorite chapter was Sloth and how it was portrayed, because you see like floating bits of manga just throughout all the pages. It's kind of like playing with the medium of being in a book, but it's not set there. It's more of a show don't tell kind of thing. There's even the post poll, which shows Tsubaki, and she obviously won first place with the thing. The second one is Liz, because why not? And that's when I was thinking, I was like, see, that's when it does not necessarily come off as trashy, because I think that's fine. Swimsuit isn't bad. It's not too perverted or anything. Jumping ahead, there is a character poll of like popularity. I really found this kind of cool. I did not know Death the Kid was number 1, Maka second, Soul third. See, I thought Maka would have been the most popular character. I like that my boy Blackstar is 4th though. 5th, Krona. 6th, Excalibur. 7th, Tsubaki. 8, Stein. 9, Medusa. And 10, Lord Death. Later, there is a whole big battle that involves the moon, and like I said, it just changed. It's so drastic from the manga. I got like whiplash or something, I guess you could say it. There's a scene that actually kind of freaked me the fuck out, because there's this picture of Krona, and I'll just post it right there. My friend showed me a doujin once of K-On!, and that is the first thing that came to my mind, because if you know what I'm talking about, you know which one I'm talking about. I'm not gonna go over it. It just gave me kind of feeling like physical cringe. Now there's that whole war on the moon. I'm not gonna spoil it to you. It's good. Just go read it. There's the big showdown with the Kishin is there. they don't win with like the whole friendship type trope thing they do in the anime. These are some of my favorite scenes, like pictures in the whole manga. I like the one right there where Excalibur's just standing over the horizon. It's pretty impactful at the time. I know, he's a giant joke, but this time it helped that the kid like come into who he is. There's also this scene that was a pleasant surprise. It's full color in the manga. It has different texture and everything like that. It's just it just looks good. Same. I really enjoy that this version had its epilogue. That's what kind of made me feel left out compared to the anime. I do remember that part where they're like, wherever evil may show up, will be there, kind of thing. But it shows after they beat the big bad, the Kishin or whatever, life afterwards. I kind of like when Blair goes and lives normal mundane with Soul Amaka. Um, so I'm a little envious, just a little bit. And the one with Death the Kid too, when he changes and becomes the Shinigami himself. I like. He just has some big shoes to fill. He's gets inaugurated. He wanted to be it done a certain way, and my boy Black Star, he ended up taking in Angela. Well, him and Tsubaki ended up taking her under their wing, kind of thing, looking after them. It's like a tribute to Mifune, which is well, it's a really nice conclusion with that little arc and the whole thing. At the very end, you get that this is Soul Resonance page that it's double space. It's great. At the very end, you get some notes from the narrator at like the post manga of himself. Like, I blew the bar away. I'm all burned up. Even the bird won't come back. I guess that means our journey's an end. Well, there's no more, customers to visit more. Any last word for your guests? He's like, nah. And then, like, after working on it so long, most of the people who were following Soul Eater became adults because of the runtime from the beginning of the manga to the end. The only thing he has to say is, it's over. He doesn't have to worry about deadlines or anything and chill all day, whatever. He said he was pretty much doing it since the beginning, but, the audience doesn't need to know about that. Kind of just like laughing with themselves. I like to do this kind of thing all the time. So what's next for them? Why don't they open another shop? Soul Eater's still going. There's that little end. And there's the thank you page, the last day, 12/12/2013. Soul Eater, it's just a nice little thank you for watching the series. So, Lewis Island, I think it was kind of interesting. That scene when Soul is talking with the devil and he walks in with that weird dance? I'm not. You guys just know what that's a reference to, pretty much. I always thought it was eerie or whatever, but then I forget. You ever get seen Twin Peaks? I think that's what it pays homage to. It's kind of a little interesting, like parallel or Easter egg reference, whatever. Hey, post editing STATICKILO here. I really wanted to quickly talk about this quick photo that I found in the manga, and I didn't do my research until after this was all done. The guy who wrote this art style is actually made by the dude who does the Final Fantasy stuff. So him doing that in the Soul Eaters in that art style is pretty cool. And I just wanted to show my autographed Black Star photo. Okay, that's about it. So that's it. That's the end of Soul Eater. I can't say again how much I love this series. What it meant to me. Again, huge fan of Black Star. I got it. Actually, Black Star was my first tattoo I got. I got his soul on the back of my shoulder. I have almost all of the memorabilia you can possibly get of it. I got, again, the manga, I got Micah Salusa to sign it for me too. Pretty interesting. Showed earlier in the video, I got the DVD from Hastings back in the day. I even got something pretty, well, yeah. I even got my favorite duo. I got these two as Funko Pops. The Black Star and Tsubaki. Extra mile because, well, I ended up getting them autographed by the voice actors. Brittany Karbowski and Monica Rial. I love Brittany Karbowski to death. She actually plays the lead in another show I really wanted to probably do something like this with. Monica, she's cool, I guess. I met her at SakuraCon. My opinions changed on her a lot as the years went by, but you know, whatever. To each their own, I guess. Love Black Star so much. I don't know if I can show it. That. Yeah, I can't zoom in. That little Black Star poster over there. That's also autographed by Brittany. Thanks so much for watching this video. I never done anything like this. I can see why it probably takes some prep time and practice. I just wanted to do this for about a month now, and well, I actually wanted to talk about a manga adaptation, pretty much, of the manga. Sorry, I can't talk. Full Metal Alchemist, you know how it got the Brotherhood treatment. Me and everyone else wants it done with Soul Eater. Soul Eater Resonance would be a really cool title. I wanted to show like homage to this in a certain way. You know, I actually would consider doing like a fan dub of the manga if anyone wants to do that with me. It'd be a fun little project. I'd do the editing, and I'd probably want to do voice a couple characters, but most of them are free reign. Don't worry, I sound a lot better when I'm doing like post editing type stuff or whatever. I invested in this microphone, so it's not like my quality is going to be that bad. You know, got the Frostgate, the Cloud Lifter, stuff like that, compared to recording on my phone right there. Yeah, just a ramble at the end of the thing. Again, I appreciate everything for all you guys and stuff like that. It's my this kind of video. I've never thought I'd do something related to anime content, like analyzing or just talking about the series as a whole. So maybe I'll probably tackle other stuff like that in the future. Who knows? Yeah. All right. See you guys later.